Welcome to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky. Networking. We all know that we have to do it in order to advance in our careers. Men actually treat networking like a job, but what about women? Do you book yourself to attend a networking event and in the last minute cancel? You might be selling the art of networking short. So to discuss networking and self-care for women, I'm joined by Carol Penhale, President and CEO of Bedford Park Associates, which she founded in 2010. Carol, welcome to Empowered.
Thank you, Liz. Thrilled to be here. Very happy to talk to you about this topic. I think this is something we really need to talk about.
And that's what I was just about to say. I think this is really important and very, very underestimated. So how do you define networking?
It's something as simple as what we're doing right now or watching something on TV. But definitely social networking, visiting people at networking events and conferences. That's all part of it. And there's professional and social networking. I'm going to talk about a little bit about both today because I think a lot of your audience are women. They do social networking already. Mm-hmm. They just don't realize they have those skills and they need to be honed a bit for the professional environment.
You know, that's really important to know. So let's go back to, how do you define networking?
So I would say it's us sitting here, have a conversation, talking to people at conferences, talking to people on the street about stuff. Women do a lot of networking. Anybody who has kids and you've been to a sporting event and you're talking to other parents about trying to organize the carpooling, that's networking. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of those skills already. We just don't think about honing them for our careers. Which is equally important and we need to find time for.
You know, I think as women, we underestimate what we know and our strengths. So I'm really glad that you brought up the fact that networking is something that you can do even when you're carpooling or at a sporting event, because we underestimate what networking actually is. Now, some people refer to networking as self-care. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's different types of self-care. I don't think it's like going to the spa, which we all enjoy. And I think that's important for our social well-being. But I think there's a self-care for our careers and our jobs. And we have to pay the same attention for the self-care of where we're going, particularly in an environment where jobs and careers and the environment changes so quickly. The job you may do today may be very different 10 years from now, and you need to plan for it. So I put together some stats for your audience. I thought that would be helpful. It's a bit sobering in terms of the impact of it in business, but certainly from the standpoint of women and where we need to pull up our socks a bit and do more of it.
And this is important. Like, I think it's important, but why do you think networking is so important for women? Because it is underestimated.
I think COVID changed everything. There's still a lot of people wanting to work from home and, have the fuzzy slippers on and work in front of the computer. And it's hard to advance your career or meet other people. There are a number of things that are very important in terms of networking. Stats are that 38% of people think networking is hard. I'm surprised it's that low because it's difficult. It's a lot of work to do that. Many careers out there, they have to do self-accreditation. So they have to keep their skills up to speed. For the rest of us, I'm not in a profession like that. For the rest of us, from my standpoint, networking is a sweat equity component to be able to do that. Learn what your industry is doing, what other people are doing. It's very important from that standpoint to have a circumspect perspective in terms of where the world is.
Okay, so how will networking benefit our viewers in their personal and professional lives?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that we could look at from the standpoint of how we'll apply to them. The stats that I was looking at to prepare for this, I live this. This is my mantra. I live this every day. But for a lot of people, I thought, okay, they may not think this is just Carol passionate about this and she's up here having to chat with Liz. But the stats are quite gruesome. Over 80% of jobs are not listed anywhere. So how would you find them? In the old days, probably when we were younger, you would find things in the newspaper. Right. Only 1% of jobs are in newspapers now. When you submit a CV to a recruiter, women are 26% less likely to have their profile clicked on than a man. I have no idea why.
Interesting.
But it makes it very difficult for us to stand out if, we're behind the eight ball to some degree. So we have to push harder than everyone else to even get a seat at the table for acknowledgement. And that's become more prevalent in this day and age where technology is used for everything.
So hold that thought.
Yes.
When we come back, we'll continue. So please don't go away. We'll be right back.